The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 10th day of November, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical Wellness One Communications and Lindo's. I'm Jamel Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool, and Leanna Lambert will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Sherry, it's Wednesday, Friday.
Yes, it is.
Yes. How are you doing? Like it's a long weekend for the show. You gonna miss me?
No.
Oh.
Next question.
Oh, what? Oh, my God. Woo. Wow. Yeah, we appreciate honesty and transparency on the show, but I mean, my goodness, people have feelings.
My dear, you'll be all right, grumpy uncle. You'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is Wednesday, Friday for us, and I am looking forward to a little sleepy in. Thursday and Friday is not a holiday for my job place. I don't know how I picked this job that didn't have a holiday on Thursday, but nevertheless, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, no holidays for the main job over here, but you know what? We'll make those holidays up somewhere. We'll get them somewhere.
Well, it's a holiday with this job. I love this job. This job takes every holiday: Bermuda holiday, U.S. holiday, state, federal, UK. You know, it's good stuff.
Don't give us no ideas. We may have German holiday too. See somebody on with us when Friday. So, folks, real quickly, we good morning and everyone. Sorry, excuse my manners today. I'm just so happy for the long weekend, right? Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. Another good one today as we welcome George Butterfield and Kanika Spence on from Meyer Group of Companies. The daily play is say it, don't sing it. And if doesn't get this one, folks, it's no trick question. This is straightforward. Straightforward.
Terry and Jackie had me, practicing this morning because they had a whole nice episode about songs that they like. And so I was all in that. Bless Terry's heart. I'm going to throw her under the bus. She said she liked Earth, Wind, and Fire. I said, yes, the Elements. She comes back with, is that a different singing group or like, no, Terry, oh my God, no. The Elements is Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I mean, it is generational with Earth, Wind, and Fire too. Some people like Reasons and September, and then the older people may like Elements, just saying.
Love's Paradise. That was so sarcastic and dry.
My apologies. My apologies. I mean, I laughed. But hey, so folks, important conversation coming out with the great folks, like I said, George Butterfield and Kanika Spence. Shipping. We've spoken about articles written by one of our sponsors, Lindo's. We've spoken about it with some of the other guests on this show about the impact of shipping. And because everything or mostly everything is imported in Bermuda, this is probably one of the most important conversations and almost a continuation of the conversation that we had on Monday with Craig Simmons. So please ensure that you tune into this one. It's one of those conversations that we all should ensure that we engage with and are part of. But before we get there, quite a few things to share with you. So I'm just shared the dailyhour.com in the comments. Why have I shared that? Well, we have a survey that a lot of people have taken already, shockingly, because it hasn't been made public. But we have a survey on our website. Soon as you go on the website, thedailyhour.com, where we're just trying to get some information, and we're going to be giving some holiday prizes if you include your email. You don't have to include your email address. As you know, the Daily Hour, we're not like most businesses. We don't flood you with emails and things like that. We are consumers as well, and we understand how annoying that is. You'd be only including your email if you want to be eligible to win a prize. But please, if you haven't already, because again, it wasn't public. I don't know what she put to herself for, folks, but I'm like her though. I'm just like, but go on our website sometime today. You can share it with people you know who watch, and ensure that you fill out this survey to the fullest so that we can have a better understanding of what you desire. Just from this information, we'll understand what you desire, what your interests are, how we should align partnerships to reward you for being loyal to this show. So we appreciate you if you can go and do that. But before we get into today's conversation and bring our guest on, we have a topic to discuss, right? So, yeah, let me go, because it was really the response from Social Justice Bermuda. They go by SJB. And the title on the Royal Gazette. And yes, I did receive the press release directly, but for some reason, I just love the angles that the Royal Gazette takes. The headline is SJB calls for CCTV leak officer to be fired. Right? Now, you guys know me. I have a lot of sympathy for people and losing jobs, like livelihood. However, there are times when sometimes people just have to go. Well, the pressure group has condemned the actions of a police officer who has posted CCTV footage of a fatal road traffic accident on social media. Social Justice Bermuda has claimed that the incident had eroded confidence in the police and said that the service should be reformed. Well, I think many people would agree with that. Anyway, Social Justice Bermuda said, quote, Social Justice Bermuda is enraged, dismayed, and disgusted, to learn that a police officer violated their professional and moral obligations by sharing the CCTV footage of Jatina Richardson Martin's final moments on social media. And long story short, Social Justice Bermuda, they have been very vocal in regards to another officer, which was Barbie, somebody. Is her real name Barbie? I mean, or is that a nickname? Well, Barbie.
That's neither here nor there. People know who you're talking about.
I don't know her last name, but if you remember the situation, folks, it was a Barbie person. Here's the challenge, and here's the question, I should say. Here's the question. The question of the morning. Do you believe the police officer should be fired for sharing the video of the road fatality? What are your thoughts on, it's not just Social Justice Bermuda who's called for this, but they are an organization who has not been shy of taking responsibility to push these kinds of things. But what are your thoughts? Should the police officer, should he be fired for sharing the video? And keep in mind, we did discuss before we even knew it was an officer, how can we change the mindset last week of people sharing such things via social media? Sherry, you look like you're chomping at the bit.
I am, because I had very different thoughts on yes and no until you just kindly remind me of some of my comments earlier part of this week, which was someone needs to have some licks on their hands and understand, be made accountable for this. In my first instance, when I read it, I was like, well, in what context did he show it, and what this and what that? And I was kind of, I guess, making an excuse or trying to have a gray area as it pertained to him, in the sense of when we talk about the shootings and all of that kind of stuff, we want information. How come he shared it? It wasn't for investigate. So I say that all to say, then yes, he should be reprimanded for what he did. It was not something that should have been public. It should not have been shared. If anything, it's one thing to show somebody, it's another thing to share, because you have no control over what the person does next. Even you and I, I'm like, Jamal, like, don't, send, and I have to trust that you're not going to do that. But it's so hard these days to even do that in chats and groups and all of these stuff. People don't crop out your names, don't do all of those kind of things. So yeah, I don't know if fired is the word, but definitely should be reprimanded
Reprimanded.
for it. The fact that he came forward, apparently immediately once it was out there, um, goes to his credit. But the other thing then is if it didn't get out there, would you have indicated that you had anything to do with any of this? So I don't know. I always need more
Well,
information to make an informed,
I'm glad you said
decision.
what you just said, though, Sherry, because the government and politicians can learn a bit from the accountability that the officer took. That must be noted, not to justify his actions, but that must be noted. I'll share my response in a few. I don't want to be selfish. Audience and Sherry first. Do you believe the officer should be fired? Do you believe the police officer should be fired for sharing the video of the road fatality? Is the question. We have the audience sharing a lot. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. And before we get to that, thank you, Michelle White and Karen Edward Simmons, who have filled out the survey online, they've said. So again, folks, please go and share that survey out. The more the better as we collect information. Like I said, we don't send emails all willy-nilly. We respect your privacy, but if you want us to email you, we can. David Michael Wilson, Sherry.
Had it been a civilian, we would have been brought before the courts. Since it's a cop, it seems like he would just get a slap on the wrist before it gets swept under the carpet. Yeah, I hear you, David.
Mm.
Yeah.
Adeline
I
Stevenson
mean,
Swan says, reprimanded, not terminated. We've all needed forgiveness for something in our life. And in addition, he did own up. And I think, again, accountability is so huge. And again, I'm not trying to justify the actions of the officer, but
exactly.
very rarely do we see in this time that we live in, people taking accountability for their actions, no matter how good or bad. So I think that is something that we need to recognize. Sam Capley says, well, it was tacky and insensitive. He didn't do anything illegal. Suspend him without pay for 3 months and then put on probation again and give him warning, a firm warning, that next time is immediate dismissal based on internal rules of conduct.
Why isn't it illegal?
Well, I don't know the law. I'm not going to say it is or isn't. I do know that it's probably misconduct, definitely misconduct. But as far as the law, I'm not in a place to say whether it is or not. I just don't know. David Michael R. Wilson and Michelle White.
Probably would be named and shamed as civilians, not so much as a cop. Oh, because they haven't named them, have they? Not fired, by highly disciplined and made an example of for the others. But why question should also be addressed.
I agree, and can't overlook what Sherry said in the beginning. Like, he could have shared it with a colleague, right? In a old police chat group. It could have been that, and then one of those officers could have. And folks, please don't act like Jamal said he shared it. No. I'm just giving hypotheticals here. Don't come back and say Jamal Hartman said this. No. I am.
It's Jamal with an E.
Yeah, right. Jamal with the E, not that A stuff. Sherry is such a loser. Karen Simmons, Sherry.
Sharing the video was not part of the police investigation. So yes, he should be reprimanded. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and that's how I see it as well. Like, an accident is an investigation regardless, right? To me, it's an active investigation, and all evidence pertaining to that should stay in-house in regards to the matter until it is all figured out. We don't know. I don't know if it was a single vehicle, if it involves somebody else, and all of those kind of things. And just on the flip side, what we talked about doing good and bad, like, who wants to have that show up on the fin and a cousin, a sister, a brother, or something in regard to that? But back to your point, if it was in a police chat as well, hypothetically, allegedly, or whatever the case may be, we don't know. We're not responsible for the other person and what they do with the information.
Correct.
Hence, we have to be responsible for ourselves.
Correct.
And not do it as well. So
correct. And that's it. Like, and Sherry made a great point. Like, there's we're transparent on this show. So I'll share, like, we have our chat groups, and there are times when I would say to people in our chat groups, hey, delete this or delete that. And you just don't want things that are meant for one group of people. And it may not be bad, but you never know how things can be misconstrued once forwarded and sent to others, especially when it's a voice note and you have a distinct voice. So I think that it's a lot behind it. And again, accountability. I'm not sure if accountability was because, well, hey, it's only one person it could have come from. You're right. So we just don't know. We don't have the details. But accountability is something that we just don't see. And again, props to the officer for that, not justifying his actions. But back to the comments, Rick Olson says suspended without pay for a month. Sean at Bell, suspension, not terminated. He did come forward. Angeline Butler and Quentin Stovall, Sherry.
If the shoe was on the other foot, hopefully this will be a lesson to many, not just to the police officer. And Internet 101, once it's out, it's global for life. The ignorance is what astounds me. And I would say the other part, I lost my train of thought that quick.
Carla John, I need more information. Was he an excellent employee otherwise? Has he done anything like this before? Is the stress from the job damaging his mental health? I appreciate that, Carla. And there are other things we need to consider. Why? It goes back to Shara's question originally. Why?
Yeah.
Bobby Singh says, yes, it's pertinent for the investigation, but more importantly, respect for the family. I'm sure it's not the first time a video has been leaked by a member of the BPS. Let me say this. I'll share my opinion now, because I know you all want to hear it. At least I think you do. What concerns me, and I'm going to address Social Justice Bermuda first. I honestly do appreciate any pressure group who's trying to create a better society for everyone. And maybe Social Justice Bermuda has recently addressed road safety in Bermuda. But for me, I think that focusing on the officer, while wrong, and all I'm thinking about is the family. And I'm glad Carla John just mentioned it, because for me, it's not about the officer being fired or his actions. It's more about how is the family dealing. Why are we focusing so much on the officer when we have a bigger problem on our hands? The bigger problem on our hands is that we are losing too many people on our roads. Way too many people on our roads. And to me, Social Justice Bermuda, I think it would probably be more beneficial to use this as a learning moment rather than pushing to get someone fired, but to get the police to focus more on what they're already doing per their appearances on this show, is to create safer roads for all from a legislative perspective, making sure people are abiding by the law, but also educating fellow Bermudians on what they need to do to avoid these situations. Yes, the officer was wrong. Yes, the officer should be reprimanded. But we have a bigger crisis on our hands, and that is the safety of everyone on the roads of Bermuda.
And that was my train of thought. What I lost for a hot second was so much of like we're talking about reprimand, take his pay, and all of this. While those are all great, what could he do or she can do in regards to doing being helpful in the community in regards to this matter? Should you do some community stuff, some community service? Should you do something for the family? Should you do something other than something that's just in-house? And I think we should know who it is. I think we should know who it is.
Why do you think we should know who it is, though?
Because we put everybody else out there in front, but we have this thing about the Bermuda Police Service that we shouldn't know about this. And then it goes back to some of the comments in the article in regards to trusting who it is and trusting these type of things. And we're very quick to be like, oh, we can't know who the officer is. Why not? I don't want nobody to know it's me. I'm on the daily hour and doing all that. I don't want nobody to know it's me, but you'll put me out there quicker than you'll put yourselves. You did wrong.
But I'm trying I'm honestly, I hear you and I see the audience have said it, but I'm trying to remember a time when something was put out there and we knew who did it. I don't remember a time personally.
It's been some cases when I think of some physical abuse or domestic violence or different things that's happened within the police service. There has been some cases that have named the
We're losing Sherry, folks. We're losing Sherry. And she was saying something important. But look, let's go back to the comments. Richard Augustus says the punishment should meet the infraction. Remember, Black Lives Splatter. And I think that was the Barbie lady, police officer. We have Renee Shalin Simmons. He's a policeman. Common sense would tell him not to reveal any information as it is pertinent as evidence in any court case. He definitely needs to be reprimanded. And I think that's the consensus here. What does that look like? I think is more of the question. Carol Griffith says he definitely used poor judgment in sharing the video, and he should be disciplined. He had made a mistake and owned up to it right away. I think he should be given a second chance. I think that's where I have a sore spot, is the accountability. We have Rick Olson. For his own sanity and career, he should resign. Sam Cat Place says, has TNM been called on to be stripped of their license? Because Lord, put that into perspective. I'm just saying, I'm not necessarily sure one needs I could be wrong, a license to go on the internet and report news. I'm not quite sure. Reese Sam says, Jamal, I think that's me. I'm Jamal though. Thanks for being the voice of reason today. James Burt said, knowing who it is changes the volume of how they get reprimanded by. So I guess that answers the question of me asking, why do we need to know who it is? The rank, it could be a high ranking officer. It could be an officer not so high ranking. It depends on a lot. Carlo John says, what is the benefit to the community of exposing the officer's identity? And I think James Birch just gave us an answer. Quentin Stovall, if it's not a legal offense, then it perhaps remains an HR issue. He's saying if it's not illegal, it's probably internal. And Takia Saunders says, first time viewer, interesting conversation. It was a poor choice. However, suspension is warranted, not canceled. And I think that's my concern, folks. I don't know the officer. I don't know what was thinking. My first thought is, as I stated, the family. My second thought is understanding the officer and why the officer may have done so. And I think third is really the bigger issue here. The bigger issue, we shouldn't be in a position where someone is sharing this information. We need to be discussing road safety. It is a crisis. It is a crisis in Bermuda. And we have to get serious about this crisis. Let's bring Leanna into the conversation. Lee, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Mal. I'm good, and a very, very interesting conversation it is this morning.
It is. And look, you're a news person. You journalism, reporting. This is what you do. One of the things I've come across and I've noticed from you, and this, we're going back years when you were at BBC, you are someone who reports with integrity. You have never come across as, I want to be first to know. And there are things that you know first. Like there are some things you'll hit me up about, and I'm like, well, I haven't even seen this in a chat group. I haven't seen it. Leanna actually has a lot of information first, but you're never in a hurry to get it out. Why?
No,
what's most important to you?
Yeah, well, it's that thing in Bermuda, right? And I say it all the time. We come together as a people to spread news like this, whether it's true or it's false. And people don't actually take the time to fact check. And so many times we've seen over and over when gossip is spread, if there's an accident, if there's a shooting, we play telephone like it's no one's business.
Yeah.
And I have learned in such a small knit community, and then having studied abroad, that type of stuff leads to not just the rumors, but we also see a divide and all the misinformation among family members. And it actually is very detrimental to the real story itself, right? So fact checking is something that I definitely take pride in before just spreading seamless gossip.
Yeah, indeed. Let's bring Sherry. She didn't pay her
internet bill.
Yeah, she came up short last month on her Wi-Fi. Hey, Sherry, you heard what Leanna was saying about you?
Yes, such a hater. Shade. And right now, I'm on my hotspot just to be sure. So I was like, I don't have time to try to figure that out right now. So hotspot it is. So
no worries. Let's get up to the news break. We are out of time, but folks, I'm just going to share again. Please go on the website, and like I said, you don't have to fill out your email, but we have a survey on thedailyhour.com. We're going to be giving away some holiday prizes. Just fill that out for us, and we will ensure that we don't share your private information. We're just trying to get some information so that we kind of deliver you the kind of things that you love and enjoy. Lee, you ready for the news break?
I'm ready.
All right, over to you, sis.
Thanks, Jamal and Sherry, and happy hump day to everyone that's tuned in with us this morning. I hope you all are having a great start to this bright day that we're experiencing. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Well, it's been a topic that's floated around since the inception of vaccines, and now the Ministry of Health confirmed that Cabinet will be considering mandatory vaccination regulations for Bermuda's healthcare professionals. Now, the UK has recently revised their rules, becoming more tough on NHS staff to be vaccinated in an effort to protect the nation's patients and the vulnerable. And the island is seeking to follow suit. Now, Minister of Health Kim Wilson said thus far, vaccines are still a matter of choice. However, talks are being held in cabinet at the caucus level. She also mentioned universal health care, which is to come down the pipeline, but claimed that the pandemic delayed the introduction. She did say, however, that a time frame cannot be given as it is critically important to get it correct. In other news, Salta's Grammar School will be welcoming a new head teacher, Julie Rousseau from Canada. Now, Ms. Rousseau will be taking over from Duran Lavelle at the private school next summer. A spokesperson added that the appointment was made following a comprehensive search that attracted top candidates from around the world. Now, Ms. Rousseau said that she is excited to have the opportunity to develop caring and meaningful connections with the entire Salta school community and looks forward to learning about the island's rich history and embracing the vibrant Bermuda culture. For those who might recall, this week is businesses all around the world are celebrating innovators and job creators as recognition of Global Entrepreneurship Week 2021. Now, this week, which is dedicated to those who seek to drive economic growth, bring ideas to life, and enhance human welfare, has grown to include over 170 host countries, 50,000 partnership organizations with millions of activities planned worldwide since its inception in 2008. Now, just yesterday, the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation held their annual rocket pitch competition, while the remainder of the week will celebrate the winners of the Bermuda Tech Awards. Saturday, the BEDC will celebrate their 5th Business Awards, while Sunday it's Women Entrepreneur Conference, with all events to be held virtually. And tomorrow, the island will join with the rest of the world in honoring its former and fallen war veterans and those who served in the military for Remembrance Day. We here at the Daily Hour also pay our respects to the families of those surviving members and wish everyone a safe and enjoyable holiday. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 75 and a low near 69 degrees. It is a bright and sunny start to the day, but we will see a mix of sun and clouds with a light dawn sprinkle later in the afternoon. Now, high pressure drifts in from the west while sending a generous amount of sunshine, easing wind, and decreasing humidity over the next several days. That's all for your Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. But before we go, just a little helpful tip from your favorite community pharmacist. Did you know that sleeping on your left side can reduce heartburn? Well, the left side sleeping keeps food and acid from entering the esophagus, which is the tube that connects the throat to the stomach. Talk to your trusted People's Pharmacist about other common and easy fixes. Now let's head back to Jamal and Sherry in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
Did you say esophagus?
Yeah.
Okay, I pronounced it right?
Esophagus.
I'm getting better at this. All right, no worries. Lee, thank you so much for that. And look, I know my limits and my challenges, folks.
See
Thank
that?
you so much for this. And thanks for the Remembrance Day for those who have fallen and those who are honoring those who have fallen. We look forward to celebrating with you. Not all of us have the day off, but we'll do our best to share the information. Deanna, enjoy your long weekend. Actually, a full work week, 5 days, and we'll see you back on Monday, right?
We'll see you on Monday. Yes, this is going to be an enjoyable one. I've booked the tea time and I'm going to go play golf tomorrow. So I'm really excited about that. I don't know what's going on, Jamal. I have developed this love for golf. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
You're cheating. You're cheating. So no, you're not cheating. When we do have a family golf event, just know that you're on my team. All right.
Got you.
All right.
Got you. That's only if you start being nice to Sherry. Ooh.
Have a great weekend, Lee. All right.
Bye, Lee.
She had to end it on that. We have some very important guests coming up after this commercial break, Mr. George Butterfield and Kanika Spence. We have some shipping issues globally, and they're going to calm our nerves, I hope. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
This month, we're featuring just a small sample of the diverse range of products produced by Stonewall Kitchen, a family business which started up in 1991. Initially known for their artisanal jams, they were determined to diversify their range and now ship a huge variety of premium condiments to 42 countries. Try Stonewall Kitchen's roasted garlic onion, maple bacon onion, strawberry apple, rhubarb, and wild Maine blueberry jams, red pepper and hot pepper jellies, bourbon pecan caramel, and caramel dark chocolate sea salt sauces. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Sherry Vanderpool, myself, Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and our friends over at People's Pharmacy. It's time for the Daily Focus. We have some very important guests. We're going to welcome to the studio right now, Mr. George Butterfield and Kanika Spence of Meyer. Welcome to the show to the both of you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Mr. Butterfield, let me just see if you can. Oops, I can't do it. You'd have to take yourself off mute. We definitely want to make sure people can hear you. Just hit the mute. I should have reminded everyone. Do not put yourself on mute. But thank you both for. Nope, you're still on mute. You have to actually click it on the. However you put yourself on mute, just unmute in your screen down bottom. The only other thing I can tell you is to sign off, then sign back on. So that's the part I left out. We do have quality checks, and I keep forgetting to tell people no one can hear you when you're on air, so don't do anything differently when you go backstage. But hopefully in the meantime, Kanika, you can answer some questions for us. Thank you for coming for joining us, and let's get right to it. Give us some background of Meyer Freight. Like what does the organization do? What's the purpose of the organization, and as it pertains to Bermuda and shipping?
So basically, Meyer Freight is part of the Meyer group of companies. Mm-hmm. We act as local agents for 2 out of the 3 shipping lines servicing Bermuda. Bermuda International Shipping, which we basically call BISSL, owns and operates the Bermuda Islander, which provides a weekly service from Salem, New Jersey to Hamilton, Bermuda. That ship departs Monday evenings, arriving first thing Thursday mornings. Also, the Summers Isles, which departs Fernandina Beach 3 times a month. Okay. So both lines basically carry containers, break bulk cargo, specifically any freight that could fit into a container. We also import livestock, heavy equipment, boats, vehicles. So, yeah.
Okay.
The livestock. Wow.
Yeah, livestock. That's how the animals get in.
Horses, cows.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they actually ship in a specialized container.
Okay. Mr. George, Kanika was just sharing some background of what Meyer Freight actually does, what you ship into Bermuda, and the 2 of the 3 cruise ships that come to Bermuda. But that stated, obviously there's been some issues worldwide. And to quote Craig Simmons, the economist and Bermuda College lecturer on Monday, he basically said that grocery stores should be looked at as heroes right now because Bermuda hasn't suffered the same fate. And I'm in the US, Sherry's in the US, right? I've seen empty store shelves. I've seen the impact here. What role does Meyer play in ensuring that these grocery stores are heroes? Because in fact, it would be a role that you're playing as well to make sure that the process is smooth.
Yeah, I would like to say grocery stores, to me, they have also become a part of the essential service, especially in this present pandemic. We have great relationships with all the importers, including the grocery stores, and we're in constant dialogue with them. During this pandemic, what has happened is a lot of them have found shortages in certain items. So instead of going to their normal supplier, they have to reach out to new suppliers. And by them reaching out to new suppliers, that's when they come and contact us to say, can you make this happen? And most times we do make it happen for them. Sometimes it comes at a greater expense, unfortunately, but we do our best to try and keep the cost to a minimum.
Got you. It's so complex to me because for some reason I have a boring life in terms of what I watch on TV. If it's not sports, it's probably ID or the news. And so the news, for like 1 week, the top story wasn't COVID. It was on ABC World News. It was the shipping situation. And so I tried to do my best to understand it. And I haven't seen those type of stories in Bermuda per se. How has it impacted Bermuda? What's going on in the world? Like California, a big example.
Well, basically, it was a saying that Bermuda is another world, but Bermuda is no longer another world. Bermuda is part of the world. And yes, we are affected by what we call the global supply chain. What's happened over on the west coast of the US is you have anywhere between 50 to 100 ships. They are actually moored over there or anchored, and they're waiting to go alongside. So normally ships run on schedule. So normally a ship can be booked to come in on a Tuesday. That ship arrives in the waters on a Tuesday. However, it can come alongside to up to 2 and 3 weeks later. So that definitely causes some challenges for the supply chain. So naturally, you're going to have backlogs. Then you're going to have always in the end of the day, it's an increased cost. But then the challenge that they're also having is once there's goods turn around and they're offloaded and they're on the dock, especially throughout the US, it's definitely a shortage of transportation. So whether it's rail or truckers, it's a shortage of truckers to actually get the goods from the port and then taken to the warehouse. And that is a major problem.
Interesting. I'm not sure what that is. I think that was coming from Sherry. No, that's kind of. I mean, I read a story that it's not just the ports. When I say I've read stories off the news, I read stories. I'm going to use Los Angeles, right? In Los Angeles, they were saying it's one of the highest paying jobs for a guy to go out and bring the ships in, right? But it's also one of the deadliest. I've read that kind of story. I've read the stories about the shortage of truck workers has also impacted this. Has Bermuda, or do you believe Bermuda will enter that space? Because as far as I know, Bermuda doesn't have a shortage, a labor shortage at this time. At least I haven't read anything. Is this a problem? Because you know what the saying is, America sneezes, Bermuda catches a cold, right? Is Bermuda heading in this direction?
I can't speak for local businesses, but I can just assume, or I think it's safe to say that we have enough labor in Bermuda, we have enough truck drivers. So I don't think we're going to have that problem. The problem that local businesses are having, though, is sourcing their goods from overseas. Because if they go to their normal warehouse, and then, like I said previously, if that warehouse don't have what they need, then they have to find another warehouse to obtain their goods from. And that's where the challenges come, because in those warehouses overseas, what I believe they're finding is through COVID that they have lack of labor. And then, like I said, the biggest issue within the US now is when it comes to trucking. You had a lot of truckers, some of them were mature, they chose to retire. And then the other big challenge in the United States, and I think I heard you mention it previously on your show, Jamal, is that when it comes to the US government giving the unemployment benefit. So you have a lot of truckers now say, why should I go, or not just truckers, but also restaurant workers and people like this, why should they go out and work and they can stay home and
claim the benefits?
Yeah, take advantage of the unemployment benefit.
Yeah. Kanika, you wanted to add something to that?
No, yes. I mean, they're probably getting more money claiming benefits as opposed to being out there working. So they just choose not to come back.
Yeah, it was, and not to get off topic, there was a story by the hotels. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, Sherry, where the hotels in the U.S. have a situation, but I think they've realized that it's not just that. They just realized that they've been taking advantage of labor for so long that they now have to meet uncertain demands. Over to you, Sherry. Go ahead.
Yes. What should we expect or take into consideration when shipping to Bermuda? Like I know that Mr. Butterfield just talked about a whole, kind of circle of life when it comes to shipping. What can we expect or take into consideration, I should say?
The things that I believe that need to be taken into consideration is that when it comes to sourcing product, is giving yourself enough time. Going on the days where, prime example, I'll give you an example. You have the Bermuda Islander. It sails from Salem, New Jersey on Monday evenings. As you're aware, we bring in produce in a lot of our containers. There's containers of produce of field first thing on Monday mornings, and then they sail on Monday night. Things like that will continue. However, at times you have customers that may call us on a Friday and say, look, I got some items, they're quite urgent. I need to get them on your ship to sail on Monday. Things like that can't happen anymore because of the shortage of truckers. Yeah. Before we used to make stuff like that happen, but now we have a shortage of truckers. So what customers are going to have to do is give themselves a lot more lead time.
And it seems like people also don't take into consideration, or it doesn't come into fact when we talk about it's on a ship, right? So we have to include weather. We have to include what happens out on the seas. I know I've been back to Bermuda and like, why isn't anything on the shelves? They're like, oh, something happened to
been delayed.
The ship's been delayed, or something happened out into, in the water. So what impact do you see, with the consumer and the shipping company?
Well, it's kind of hard to say. One thing that, unfortunately, what a lot of Bermudians don't realize is that, like you said, you go in a grocery store and you see nothing on the shelf and some of the grocery stores will put up ships been delayed, and you would look outside, on a beautiful day like today, and you would say, wow, it's sunny, it's no wind. Why is the ship delayed? You know what I mean?
When the waters is a totally different story.
900 miles between her and New Jersey, you know what I mean? And, you can have a storm in New Jersey and that ship is delayed because of weather in New Jersey or weather, on the ocean. And that kind of happens to us quite often, but the good thing is that, we in Bermuda, we have 3 lines that service Bermuda. Like I said, we represent 2, one out of Florida, one out of New Jersey, and then we also, our competitor comes out of New Jersey as well. So Bermuda has, for this little small island, we have quite a month of service coming into Bermuda. One vessel comes early in the week, the second one comes late on in the week. And what we tend to do is, even though we are competitors, we tend to work together. So if something happens to one ship, we don't have a problem going to our competitor and giving them the container so they can bring to Bermuda, because our main thing is servicing the Bermuda customers, serving the Bermuda community.
I like that. Meaning just coming together regardless of it, for the angle, for the things to be on the shelves. Yeah, Jamal.
No, I wanted to pick up on the back of that because what is it like? percentage-wise, it's a very high percentage of imports. Bermuda relies heavily on imports. I don't think this is understood. At least I don't see it discussed of how important of a topic this is. And I'm grateful to have you here to have this conversation. But what I guess the question that we all want the answer to is, at what point, if ships stop coming to Bermuda for a week, would Bermuda be in a serious crisis? Like what is that? What does that look like?
Ships not coming to Bermuda for a week, it should be fine. We are part of a meeting that is hosted by the Emergency Measures Organization. That meeting is held monthly, and all the trade actually comes together from the major importers, supermarkets, Belco, the gas companies, everybody. And it's been mentioned in that meeting that most companies have at least 4 to 6 weeks of supplies in Bermuda. Okay. So I'm sure during their times you'll run out of something, but most of these companies have at least 4 to 6 weeks of supplies. So if ships were to actually not run into Bermuda for 2 to 3 weeks, then you'll start seeing major shortages in Bermuda.
Okay. It's a long comment, so I'll read it from the side. So Zach Monas says, we are experiencing cost increases, in some cases huge freight increases. We have already had shipments delayed because of trucker shortages. We are being impacted every week, but the consumer in most cases won't notice it because food retailers have been running high inventory levels throughout the pandemic. And when we have run short, we have found replacements. But as retailers, we have been battling every day with delays and shorts. And that Zach Mana is from Lindo's, folks. And as Mr. Simmons said, Craig Simmons on Monday, like grocery stores are heroes. So great to hear from Zach Mana. Any questions or comments for our guest today? Please feel free to share them. I'll do my best to ask them before they leave. What do you feel like Bermudians should know about shipping right now? Like what do they need to know? As right now the situation, I don't know, maybe you're the experts, you can tell me if it is getting better or it's still like in the same space as it was 3 weeks ago, but what should they know or prepare for?
As I see it, things are definitely getting a little bit better. I don't know if Kanika mentioned earlier when I was off air, but we also represent a company called Mediterranean Shipping Company, or MSC, and they ship goods from all the major ports around the world. And a lot of goods come out of China. They bring they bring a lot of goods out of China. And basically what happens is that on that particular route, it's been a lot of challenges. As we know, COVID started in China, so there's factories and stuff shut down quite early. So that caused numerous delays. Then once they started to open back up again and start to do production, times of actually ordering and shipping went from, before it was like 1 or 2 weeks, and then it went up to 3 months. So a local company will place an order, and that order will not leave China for at least 3 months. They don't get a booking for 3 months. And then also the cost, which a lot of our importers can tell you, the cost
skyrocketed.
High. Actually, the cost went up by about 80%.
Wow.
So then there's containers would actually leave Asia or wherever. Then they're coming to the United States and they get transported into Bermuda. One thing that I would like to see, and I think I mentioned it already, the customers do, the trade do, is actually make their bookings a lot earlier. Definitely a lot earlier.
Yeah, you have to. Shipping out of Asia.
Yeah. You mentioned shipping costs, and I remember the article that Zach Monas wrote back in the Royal Gazette, I want to say back in June. He mentioned some of the things that have, created this space, and it was the ship that got stuck in that canal over in
Ever Given.
Yep. And there's the cost of wood building the crates and stuff. Like, he just broke it down, and these are things that we don't consider. We don't think about those things. But here's the big question before we let you go. Christmas is coming. People love to purchase
Christmas trees.
They love their trees. They want everything. Can you both share, just be as honest and realistic as possible, what people need to expect and prepare for as the holidays come?
Right. In regards to the Christmas trees, we do have a few customers that wouldn't be bringing in trees. However, we have customers that are bringing in extra containers. Mm-hmm. So our assumption is there should be sufficient trees.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
and what would you say in regards to that when we're talking about our foods? You know, we want our turkeys, we want our hams, we want all of the trimmings and even Christmas gifts. What would you say in regards to that? Should we be starting now and stockpiling?
I would suggest to start ordering early Christmas gifts. Yes.
Okay.
Now, gifts from a gift perspective. Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
But I mean, I don't want people to get into the shopping frenzy like, you know, during the beginning of COVID when everybody was running out there buying toilet paper. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's important that people do go out and buy early, but I don't believe that anybody has to
have to stockpile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. All right. Got a question from the audience. Nachika Trot says, how is the priority established for an individual versus commercial retailer? Does the retail business get priority?
Well, from our standpoint in shipping, no. Why in business like everybody else to make money? You know what I mean? So we don't hold anybody's containers, anything like that. What tends to happen is you make a booking and we assist with that and we ship your containers to Bermuda. We provide paperwork in a timely fashion. Once you get your paperwork or what we call bills of ladings, then you go to Bermuda Customs and you clear it through customs and then go to the dock and pick up the containers. Having said that also is I have to make a comment about freight forwarders. We work very, very closely with freight forwarders. Mm-hmm. As it is now, we import containers from point A to Bermuda's port. Once the container gets into Bermuda's port, then it's up to the customer along with the freight forwarder to have it cleared through customs and have it trucked and delivered to their premises.
All righty. And one last comment before we let you roll out. Quentin Stubble, China is also experiencing power grid issues due to a lack of coal supply for their power plants, affecting factory production. Interesting troubles. And I think it goes back to what you said earlier in the show. Yeah. Bermuda is not another world. China is very far from Bermuda. But
yeah. I like to make when it comes to China, you know, everything you see is made in China, made in China, made in China. But what people also have to realize is that things are assembled in China, because even though, like, okay, let's say you have an item like a cell phone, okay, a cell phone is assembled in China, but all the components and parts come from other countries. So part of that supply chain is getting those goods from those other countries into China so they can assemble them. Then they mark it made on China, and then they ship it from China around the world. I'd just like to say real quick, Jamal, you mentioned that ship that was stuck in the Suez Canal. It was called the Ever Given. And Ever Given. And I think it was around March sometimes. So people don't realize is what happened with that ship when it got stuck in the Suez Canal. It was stuck there for 6 days. And believe it or not, it cost the global economy $400 million an hour.
Wow.
That's what it cost the global economy. I think it worked out to end up being over $10 billion or something like that. Wow. But when you have incidents like that, it causes many challenges in the supply chain. And from what happened way back in March, you know, the whole world shipping, and you know, it's still feeling the effects of it today.
Indeed.
Yeah, because of the trickle-down effect.
Yeah, this has been a great conversation, and definitely one that I hope that people kind of share and have these conversations. You know, we often talk about, you know, road traffic accidents. We talk about, you know, violence. We talk about so many other things that are just seem like we have a bit of a connection with, but we don't talk about things that impact us. And I would say backstage, right? Again, it's interesting to learn. 4 to 6 weeks, but we have to go. Thank you both so much for the conversation today, and we'll definitely be having you back. Hopefully, with talking about how shipping is better and how people can order today and get it tomorrow. Some Amazon stuff going on. Thank you so much, George Butterfield, Kanika Spence, Meyer Freight Travel. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, folks. If you enjoyed that conversation, found it helpful, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to play the movement moment, another good one by Tamra. Take a break. We'll be back. Don't forget, if you haven't already, go to our website. It's thedailyhour.com and fill out the survey. We are collecting information. You can share your email address if you'd like, but we don't send emails unless you want us to. We're just trying to get some information from our loving, loyal audience. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to this movement moment brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Together, we can illuminate your path to wellness.
Welcome to today's movement moment with Tamra Donnell, brought to you by People's. Tamra, what are we discussing today?
Good morning, Jamal. Well, today we are carrying on with discussing humility and the power of gratitude. Last week on the Movement with Tamra Donnell Instagram page, I asked a multiple choice question. Which type of humility is most important to your personal growth? We covered last week why I believe humility is such an integral part of a wellness plan and how it opens you to growth. Well, there are 3 types of humility that I would like people to concentrate on. First, there's intellectual humility. This idea that no matter how smart you believe you are, that you recognize there is always something to learn from others. The second type of humility that you can consider cultivating is moral humility. So this is an awareness that no matter how firmly you stand on your moral compass, you understand that you're vulnerable in certain circumstances, under certain stresses, to losing your way, and you accept that that's okay. The third type of humility is personal humility. It's a concept that requires a fine balancing act. Your actions and other people should speak louder about your accomplishments than you should. There's this idea of the humble brag, the importance of us telling our own stories and telling people how great we are so we stand out. But there's a fine line between bragging, pride, and ego language versus more humble, a language more based in humility. So intellectual humility, moral humility, and personal humility. Which of the 3 do you think is most important to your personal growth? In my most humble opinion, I would say all of the above. But my humility makes it so that I have to accept that the answer may be different for every single one of us. But in every aspect of your life, it's important to cultivate 1, 2, or all 3 of the 3 aspects of humility.
Thank you for tuning into this movement moment. To enjoy the benefits of the full episode, check us at Instagram at MVMT with Tamra Donnell or at People's BDA.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security, there's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All right. Thanks again to George Butterfield and Kanika Spence from Meyer. Appreciate them. Again, if you appreciated the conversation today, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Thanks again to One Communications, People's Pharmacy, Lindos, and Medical House for continuing to back us in what we do. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Sherry, are you ready?
Yeah, and are you ready? Because I have one for you too.
Wait,
So
I'm
let's
not
get
sure we quite have time for that one,
we
but
yeah, we have time. We have
I'm
time.
not quite sure. It's a say it, don't sing it this morning, folks. Very easy. You know how this works. Guess it before Sherry. Here we go. Here's the lyrics. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun.
Rise up. That's it. Rise up this morning. Rise up.
Wow.
I can't hear it, Jamal.
Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun.
Did anybody else get it? See, the music doesn't help. I'm singing it to that, and it's not it. Rise up this morning to this time.
Everybody's got it, actually. Even my mom.
Really?
Even my
mama? Oh no. Hey, Bob, Mom.
Rise up this morning.
Yeah.
Smile with the rising sun.
The sun.
Three little birds pitched on my doorstep.
Okay, here's yours. It's been 3 weeks.
Sweet song.
Listen, it's been 3 weeks.
Melodies pure and true.
You're being rude right now.
Saying, this is my message to you. Give it to me, Sherry. What you got?
Okay, it's been 3 weeks since you've been looking for your friend, the one you let hit and never called you again. Come on, Jamal.
What's your point?
What's the song?
Oh, I don't know.
Tune in and listen, Jamal, because now you're being rude.
No.
It's been 3 weeks since you've been looking for your friend, the one you let hit and never called you again.
They're just laughing at you, Sherry. I mean, Sherry kills me, like trying to,
Thank you, Ebony. Thank you, Ebony.
Yeah, but we didn't remember Sherry. Anyway, quick wrap up.
Whatever. Lauren Hill, you were singing it the other day. You're so rude and shady.
Lauren
but
Hill.
anyway,
yeah, whatever.
Do up.
I don't see Lauren Hill. Wrong person. See, she's got me mixed up with somebody. She is her feel or something. What you
yes, you did have that song good. But as I said before, I still stand by why name the person, the police officer. We also need to remember to take into context, what it is that we're forwarding and sharing with other people, regardless whether you're a police officer or anybody. The effects of it being long term is what is important. In regards to shipping, I appreciate Mr. Butterfield, or he said we call him George. He is still Mr. Butterfield, and Miss Kanika Spence for sharing with us. I was very interested in how all of it works, and he is a wealth of knowledge. So I appreciate him and Kanika, shedding some light on that whole process.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I get why the audience and you feel it's important to know who the officer is. I'm not quite sure how the internal things work at the police, but sometimes you have to kind of meet the public where they are, especially when the relationship may be what it is. So I don't think that necessarily firing an officer, but I definitely think, things like this could keep happening. You don't want to wait till they happen to fix the situation. Maybe some internal things that need to happen to make the organization what they want it to be is necessary. So reprimand it. What that looks like, I don't know, but fired probably a bit extreme. Overall picture, let's focus on road safety. As far as the conversation, I feel like shipping is one of the most important conversations we can have, honestly. And I really, really do hope that people really understand how it impacts our everyday life. If the grocery stores, as Zach Monis mentioned, I mean, they're going crazy, like by, going over the top with inventory. So we need to understand our circumstances that we're living in. So hopefully people tune in, share these kinds of shows. Don't forget to go to our website, thedailyhour.com, and to share it with anyone else who watches the show or tunes into the show, listens to it, so that we can get some information for our survey. Sherry, you got some daily inspiration for us?
Oh, I do, because I was so caught up in my song. It makes a big difference in your life when you stay positive. Ellen DeGeneres.
All
Stay
right. That's
positive,
a good one.
Jamel.
Yeah.
Stay positive.
Under Fire and Ellen DeGeneres. I think her show's ending soon. I used to
Yes.
love her when I was in college. Very entertaining lady. She is hilarious. You just don't know when she's serious. Anyway, folks, have a great holiday weekend. Keep in mind, there is no live show on November the 11th or November the 12th. We will be back live on Monday. Don't ask me the date. What is it? 15th?
I think it's the 15th.
15th, Monday the 15th. All right. So go fill out that survey for us. Thanks again to our partners, Medical Wells One Communications, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we were to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. On Monday. On Monday,
Jamal.
See you tomorrow. On Monday, she's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, please do make it a great and safe weekend, long weekend for us. Peace. Cheers.